Hi, everybody. This is Phil Garrett with Cranked Up. Welcome to Filmmaker Spotlight. This is our second episode, and today we're talking with independent genre filmmaker Roger Hill about his new film, Stalker Jane. Hey, Roger.
Hi, Phil.
Welcome to Filmmaker Spotlight.
Is it filmmaker or filmmaker?
I've thought about that for the personalized license plate, but I'm too nervous to do it. So,
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
yeah. Um, Welcome. So, Stalker Jane was released this week through Cranked Up Films. Some people who are watching this may not have seen the film yet. So before we show the trailer here, why don't you tell us from your perspective, tell us about Stalker Jane.
Sure. So Jane is a stalker, and she's stalking an up and coming musician named Demetri. She goes on a blind date with him, becomes involved with him, and starts meddling in the band affairs with let's say chaotic effect. Um, the thing is that Jane is usually right with her ideas of what will get the band from here to here. Uh, but her methods are pretty extreme and brutal at times. The movie is just a lot of fun. Like, Jane is hilarious. I got so lucky to find Halo, because Halo is just, she just has this star quality, and like, this role was just made for her. She insists she's not an actor. I don't necessarily believe her, but and her, what she said is she's not an actor, but she just wanted to play this part so bad that this is the probably the only role she'll ever play. We'll see. So that relationship, and then the relationship I had already with Demetri, with Nigel, and then Nigel's bandmate B is a character in the film as well, and he's awesome. He's plays Velvet, and the two of them are in a band together in IRL. So that's like, I knew they were like best friends, and they're in a band together already. So I knew that they had that camaraderie already. So they were kind of like a package deal, in my scheming. Um, and then, yeah, I don't even remember what the question was, to be
Oh, no, I was just getting you,
casting,
asking you
oh,
to
describe the movie.
describe the movie, and I think you've given us a good setup. So why don't we pause here and let folks take a look at the trailer?
It's a lot of fun.
One drink, next door. One drink. Talk music with me. Come on.
All right, let's do it.
I can't believe this is happening.
You don't have any social media, but you know when all of our shows are.
I'm a worker. I can't help it.
She started dating Demetri, and she's been showing up ever since. Who are you?
I'm Jane. Big fan.
Are you waiting for your girlfriend to tell you what
She
to
is
play?
not my girlfriend.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, you're right, you're Stalker.
What does it feel like to have an entire room of people peering into your soul?
I got stories about her.
I think we should.
Get married?
No.
Have a baby?
No.
It's okay to have one out of wedlock.
I'm breaking up with you.
I don't think anybody knows who Jane is.
You live and you learn, don't you?
There's Jane.
Stalking him.
I'm going to bed.
Just pretend like I'm not even here.
She's out there right now looking for him.
Let me help you get that cooler aboard. What do you got in here?
My friend's dead body. Just kidding.
Oh,
He wasn't my friend.
I'd love to talk with you. I know independent filmmakers love to hear about what other filmmakers go through in the journey to make a film. So I think there's also so many stories about every single one of these, right? So I think it'd be interesting for folks to hear about how you found your way to making Stalker Jane. If you would like to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then maybe get into how you went from your last film, Huckleberry, which is a drama, to making Stalker Jane. So take it away.
Yeah, sure. Well, growing up in the 90s, independent film kind of had that boom period, right? With, very famous films like Pulp Fiction, for example. So I was very inspired by that, and knew, in high school that I wanted to be a filmmaker. Very challenging pursuit, but nonetheless, that's what appealed to me. So I went to Ohio University, which was the only university in Ohio at the time that had a film program. I didn't have the grades to get into said program, but I kind of just bummed around and took all the film classes I could take, befriended some of the professors, and um, got a camera, and I started doing documentary films while a student at OU. So I did documentary for 15 years, something like that. Um, my last documentary film was a film called Flying Paper, which is a story about Palestinian youth in Gaza who set the world record for flying the most kites at one time. It's a very character-driven documentary. It's a kid-friendly documentary, which is unusual, especially with the conflict going on um, over there. And so that's kind of my segue into a more character-driven narrative style of storytelling. So after Flying Paper and the documentaries I did before that, I I dusted off a script that I started writing in high school, which is Huckleberry, and um, and I kind of made the switch from documentary to narrative filmmaking. I still dabble a little bit in docs, but my primary focus switched over to narrative filmmaking. So we shot Huckleberry in stages in the throughout 2016 and 2017. We finished it in 2018, and it was released that year, maybe 2019. I'm not really sure. Um, so yeah, so Huckleberry is a drama. It has some elements of thriller in it. Um, it's kind of a moody drama set in the 90s. And yeah, I mean, it's a cool movie. You can check it out on Tubi, and other places, but Tubi is probably the best place to go. So yeah, so after Huckleberry, I moved to Cleveland and had time, I guess, and I wanted to, start thinking about my next project. And I decided I wanted to do something in the horror space because I like horror movies, and I like thrillers a lot. And also, it's just a much easier genre to break into than drama for us independent filmmakers. I knew that going into Huckleberry. I ignored it, made the movie I wanted to make. No regrets. But for my subsequent film, I definitely wanted to lean into the genre and have fun with the genre. So yeah, so I winter of 22 into 23, um, I would have my morning coffee and get out my notebook and jot down ideas. And some of them were okay, some of them were not so great, but that was just kind of my routine. And one morning, I was brainstorming ideas, and Nigel, who plays Demetri in Stalker Jane, is Jane's love interest in the movie, or her obsession, I guess you should say. Nigel, the real person, Nigel, was in my movie Huckleberry, and I really liked working with him. He's a fantastic actor, and he's a musician too. So he has a band in New York called Already Late. Um, so I was sitting around thinking, and I was like, well, what if I did a movie where this crazy stalker is obsessed with I didn't have a character name yet, Nigel, So then that's kind of the spark that fueled the movie. So I was digging it. I was digging the idea. I filled up a few pages on my notebook, and then I sat down and I started writing it. and I wrote the first date scene. So early in the movie, Jane and Demetri, the character's name, played by Nigel, um, they're on their first date early in the movie, and so that's the scene that I wrote first. And yeah, it was cool. Like I really liked the scene. A lot of the dialogue was just kind of like stuff I came up with, but then it opened up a lot of stuff for the plot later. Such as like the battle of the bands, and the rival band chemical burn. I didn't have all that plotted out yet when I wrote that first scene, but it gave me a lot of good meat to riff off of. Yeah, so that's how I got born.
So with writing, some folks will sit down and with a concept and they'll do a whole outline before they begin to write a page. But it sounds like you just started writing first before you really structure the plot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I didn't really even have a plot when I started writing. I had a concept, a concept of a plan. So yeah, no, I just write, and I see where it goes. Um, Jordan Poole refers to it as just filling up the sandbox. So that's what I do. I just fill up the sandbox, and I think having a background in documentary, makes me pretty decisive when it comes time to edit things
Right.
out.
Right.
Not just in the writing, but actually in the movie itself too.
Right.
Because you have to be a pretty disciplined and ruthless editor within the documentary field. So yeah, so it actually, like, it all just kind of flowed though for Stalker Jane. I didn't I didn't really hit a wall with it. I just found a nice flow to it, and hammered out the first draft in a couple months, I guess. And yeah, and then was like, this is pretty cool. And then yeah, started getting into pre-production pretty much right away. I didn't shop the script. I didn't enter it into any competitions, anything like that. I just said, this is a good script. Let's make it happen.
For a lot of independent filmmakers, making the time to write, making the time to make your films, because so many independent filmmakers, it's not what you do a 24/7. It's not your Joe job, so to speak.
Sure.
So it sounds like, though, you mentioned something about routine. Um, how did you, as an independent filmmaker, make the time and push through when it is a thing that you're doing on your own, really for yourself? Like, I think a lot of people struggle with that. How did you deal with that?
Well, I think, having 20 years experience, has built a lot of discipline, for
Mhm.
me. And I'm very much just leap off the cliff and figure it out on the way down kind of filmmaker. Um, so I didn't exactly have everything buttoned up when, throughout any stage of the process. I was just, I wouldn't say I was winging it, but I was just putting one step in front of the other. Um, I have a a saying, which is, you can make film or you can make excuses, but you can't really do both. And I try to live by that. And that's not to say that excuses aren't valid. There are tons of valid excuses to not make a movie. But if you're going to make a movie, you just have to push past that, or you'll never get out of it. You'll never get out of that mindset of, I would do this except for this. I would do that except for this, because the conditions will never be right. They'll never even be good.
Right. Right.
Uh, if you're coming into this, as an independent filmmaker, as good as you can make it, sure. Um, I don't have a full-time job. I gig. I do a lot of different things. I shoot weddings, which pays pretty well, which helps fund the movie. I shoot real estate. I do freelance editing. Um, I'm kind of a master of none, uh, but I dabble, and I don't dabble. I do a lot of different
Mhm.
jobs. Um, so that also does kind of afford me flexibility with my schedule. So I was able to carve out 2 or 3 weeks say 3 weeks to shoot Stalker Jane. And yeah, and that's just kind of how we did it. We shot 13 days over a 14-day period. So it was pretty intensive. And then, I had pre-production and stuff like that, before with a smaller team. But yeah, we really, we just created our bubble, our creative bubble, and lived in it for 2 weeks, and it was amazing.
That's great. Do you feel that that intensity and making a film in such a short amount of time, it also, I think, creates that intensity has it's an opportunity in a way. It creates, you have a sense of urgency, but and you still do run into happy accidents, but you realize this is all I have. This is the time I have. And you sort of make the most of it. And then if you can really get your crew and your cast in that same mode, it's kind of like clockwork or like a dance or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, it's like what I live for is that window where the rest of the world is just who cares about it, and you can just immerse yourself in the creative process. And I'm really hands on with the look of the film, um, and with the actors, and I'm always looking to see like how we can improve it. I mean, you know, I was I would do rewrites sometimes, the day before we shoot a scene. So like just to have that opportunity to just be fully creative and to not be totally like locked in. The way I make films is I don't really storyboard. I go in with this. So we're going to shoot this scene. I discuss it with my DP, Yafet, and we might come up with like 2 or 3 shots that we really like. The more complicated shots, we shoot those first. So the crew goes, they set up the more complicated shots. I'll be probably prepping with the actors, that sort of thing. And then we get those out of the way, and then we just kind of move into coverage, and we just kind of flow. So yeah, so I respect the filmmakers a lot that just storyboard the hell out of their movies, but that's just not my style.
You just mentioned something a moment ago about being a master of none, but as an independent documentary filmmaker, and freelancing and everything else, and having to touch kind of all the different areas of production. I know for me as a producer, and I'd like to hear from your perspective as a director, it seems like that has it gives us the ability to sort of to speak the language of all the departments and to understand their needs and to also be thinking about how everything fits together in a more cohesive way or a more, I guess, holistic way. What's been your experience with that?
Yeah, well, I'm the editor too of the movie.
Oh yeah.
So I'm also thinking as an editor as I'm
Mhm.
shooting. So I kind of know like how it's gonna, at least have an idea of how it's gonna all stitch together. So I think that experience helps a lot on set. I think if directors have no editing experience, I think that will not be great for them, because I think it creates a lot of maybe like insecurity, or second guessing, or like overshooting, over planning. I don't know, but I think just knowing as we're getting the shots, like, okay, I have enough in the can
Mhm.
to edit this scene. I know that for
Mhm.
sure. Or I need another, I need a single here or something like that. And Yefet's also really good at just, knowing how to break down a scene and, move it along in the coverage. So we moved pretty quickly. I mean, we shot, like I said, we shot pretty much all of it in 13 days. We did do a couple reshoots. But yeah, so I think having that editing experience was probably the most important thing for me as far as directing, and I'm not an actor, but I have acted before, and just to sort of put myself in that role, I think also really helps me as a
Hmm.
director. Um, you know, uh, my job, the way I see my job, is to just create the space for the actors to um, play, you
Right.
know,
Right.
um, and immerse themselves in the creative process and
Hmm.
in their character. So yeah, so I've backed off on a lot of the the crew stuff. I trust my crew to they know what they're doing. They don't need me to oversee everything. And then that gives me more time to lock in more with the actors and with the story and everything like that. So you're not going to see me like hustling around C stands and stuff like that. Like, no, I need to save my energy and my focus for, what's important in the creative aspect of the movie.
So tell us more about the cast.
Sure. Well, obviously I have a titular character, Jane, Stalker Jane. And I knew like this I have to get the right person for this role.
Right.
The right person is going to elevate this movie, to the stratosphere. I knew I had Nigel locked in. I had B locked in, so I was good on that on those two important characters. But I didn't have my Jane, right?
Right.
So I was, going through different casting sites and not really finding the right person per se. And then I was driving. I think I was driving to Columbus or Cincinnati or something. And oftentimes when I'm on a long drive, I'll call my friend Brian Barry, who's another filmmaker based here in Cleveland. And I edited one of his movies called Workout Partners, which is cool. You should check it out. Um, and he mentioned, a friend of his just turned him on to Halo Kitsch. Uh, he didn't really know much about her. He saw her Instagram. Was like, well, she certainly has a look, right? A very striking presence. So I kind of like pulled over and just pulled up Halo's Instagram, and I was like, oh wow, like she's incredible. Like just the look, the just the sort of the stage presence, because I saw a bunch of her videos and stuff like that, her music videos. Uh, she like kills people in a couple of her music videos. So I was like, oh, okay, well that's easy to imagine. Um, so yeah, and after discovering after I mean, I'm not saying like I discovered her, but like after my personal discovery of Halo, um, I reached out to her and sent her the script, and I think she was a little bit like suspicious, not suspicious, but she took a look at the script, and then she just totally fell in love with the script and the character, and I just couldn't find a reason not to cast her. I mean, it was game over once she was like invested, and it's kind of funny. Like we have the same birthday, and I think like that was like the sign from above that like okay, like we are destined to make this movie
Yeah.
together.
Well, that's funny. And it's she has just an incredible screen presence, and um she's just it's a charisma thing, right? Like you don't know how
Yeah.
the formula for it, but whatever it is, she has it. You can't not look at her when you're watching the film when she's on screen. Um, and I think one of the powerful things about her performance is she is earnest. She is
Yeah.
she's not, I mean, it's really interesting how earnest she is, and that at other times just so like matter of fact and even deadpan at points, but she is the source of the dark humor in the film at the same
Mhm.
time. So it's a as a really as a first feature or first film for her,
Yeah.
um really astonishing to see that in a first time actor.
Yeah. she just has it. You're right. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like the way, just like the things actors do, between takes where they like, the first take they might glance over like this, and then in take two they have to remember to like glance over like that, but like make it like look like it's not,
Hmm.
like they're not thinking about that. And she just does it. Like she just knows, like without like I never see her acting.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I never see Nigel act. I never see any of the main characters in this movie acting. And I
Mm.
think I'm pretty like tuned into that. Like I can usually tell in a not so great movie, like when an actor is just like thinking about their lines and they're not like really engaging with their co-stars or with, the other actors in the scene. They're just kind of like, I'm gonna say my line like this when it's my turn to talk. But I never felt like that with them. Like the way they just riff off of each other. Yeah, it was really something special. And she's great, like deadpan comedian, like you said. She just has a lot of fun with with the lines. And I mean, some of the lines in the script are pretty wild. She's got some pretty crazy dialogue, but then a lot of it too, we just kind of made up on the spot. There's a fair amount of this movie that we just made up on the spot. Um,
Well,
so that speaks more to her, creativity than anything, I would say.
well, even something subtle. I mean, like there's a moment it's a trailer moment.
Who are you? I'm Jane. Big fan.
As if they
Yeah,
didn't know that. Like, why don't you know? It's me. Well, Jane, of course.
yeah.
Is she also New York based?
No, she's in LA.
She's in LA. And
Yeah,
then I'm sorry, Demetri,
Nigel
Nigel,
would
and
be
B are New York.
correct.
And then for the rest of your cast, did you round that out from the Cleveland area or from the
Mostly,
region?
yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe even entirely. We brought D Weasel's character, Gordon Ramsay. He's from different Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
He's from New York as well. So
Okay.
I had three New Yorkers, and then Sean Manos, who plays Hampton. He's in Atlanta, has Cleveland roots.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole Chemical Burn band is based in Atlanta now, but again, they have Cleveland-based roots too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the cast filled in. Quick anecdote about the lollipop. That was not in the script. That was our first day of shooting, and Halo comes up to me before we start shooting. She's like, "I feel like I need something, like I need something to do with my hands, right?" She's like, "I have this red lollipop. I only have this one red lollipop, but I was thinking I could like use this in the scene." I was like, "Yes, absolutely." Like I was like mad that I didn't think about it because it's just like so perfect um for that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of like the creative process that we built on the set, where we didn't come in with this really like rigid
Hmm.
uh vision of the film. We kept space for the best creative ideas to,
Yeah.
rise up.
I know people are anxious to hear about some of the nitty gritty of the filmmaking, the makeup effects, the special effects.
Okay, so I wanted this to be mostly practical effects. And there's an outfit, Ohio Burn Unit, is based in Cleveland, and they do like some big projects. So that was a pretty big expense for me, but I really wanted the practical effects to be on point, and not have to rely too much on special effects. Um, Special effects makeup was done by Ron George, who's a local Cleveland film guy. He does everything. Like he's in the 48-hour film festival, like planning. He works on everybody's movies. Super talented with special effects, makeup, and gore. I mean, just gore in general. Um, so that was sort of the practical effect side of things. I do have some visual effects that were added in post. They're real subtle. Like there's a scene where Jane's burning evidence in a metal trash can, and I thought about I thought about making a real fire. I really wanted to, but I was like, that's no, it's probably not the best idea in the world. So we did not do that. But Pixel Planet, again, based in Cleveland, they came in, and Brandon especially added the smoke and the flame, and you really can't tell. So like the special effects there, you probably won't even notice them in the whole movie. But that's kind of what I want anyway. I flew my sound guy out from LA. He's a friend of mine, Dennis Schweitzer. We go back to college, and he's incredible. So I knew like we have to have good sound.
But it is now.
Are we on 8?
We are on 8. Baker, take 1. The slate is correct.
So many indies are just ruined by bad audio. So I had to get my audio on point. So I brought him in. Another local guy, Davis Woodring, I think his name is. He filled in a little bit. He's also great. I didn't know about him at the time before Dennis brought him in. And then Yafet is really my main collaborator with on the crew side of things.
Your
director
your
of
cinematography. Yeah.
And he worked with me on. He's a fellow Ohio University grad. He actually went to the film school like me, but but he worked on Huckleberry. He wasn't the DP of Huckleberry, but we get along really well. And I was like, you know what? I know he's going to kill it. I know he's going to bring a good professional attitude, every day to set. So, and I just really wanted to have him, in the crew. And I just really wanted to work with people that I knew going in, we would get along and have a sort of a similar philosophy. I didn't want to risk kind of starting fresh with a DP that I didn't know per se.
Right.
And yeah, that killed it. I mean, he's super, super talented cinematographer.
I mean, it's a very stylized look and feel of the film, and it's also consistent throughout, which on independent films, your mileage will vary, on that.
Yeah, Yefet's incredible. The whole crew was awesome. I mean, our gaffer was great. Our grips were awesome. Like our boom op, Abby was awesome. Like people were just like really focused. Like we had a good time, but everybody was really just locked in. And that's what I really loved about shooting here in Cleveland. Like nobody comes with a pretentiousness, everyone's just grateful to have this opportunity to make a movie. It's a difficult thing, and it's not, the industry is not in great shape right now. But everyone was just locked in, we support each other. I try to create a culture of respect, that's important for me. I've seen sets get real toxic. Like it happens a lot. I did not want that. So, I was very, very adamant that like, look, we're all going to work hard. We're going to support each other. And we're going to have a good time, but we're not here to like goof around. And I'm also like, this is a special thing that we're doing, this is not anything to be taken for granted, like, like when you die, you look back on your life, you want to like remember like your contributions, and this is part of our contribution to the world is this psychotic stalker that's murdering everybody to help her boyfriend's band. But still, it means something. I was like, look, we're making somebody's favorite movie. We don't know who that person is. Actually, I know who it is. It's Halo. But we're making somebody's favorite movie, and that means something. It means something. So
Sure.
everyone bought in. It was great.
That's great. That's a great way to put it. Somebody out there, I mean, I ran into a kid who at a convention who probably, I don't know, not quite 30 years old, who saw that first film I produced years ago
Oh,
and
that's
it was like, oh my gosh, it's from the time I was a kid. It's like my favorite movie. I'm like, really? I met the person. I met the one.
yeah, right.
Tell us one of your favorite moments from making the film.
Sure. I think we'll use this to segue. This wasn't my favorite movie. But I'll tell you the opposite. One of the most challenging scenes in making this film is we have a pretty extensive kill scene. I won't give too much away. But we were just getting hammered that day. Like everything, that could go wrong went wrong that day. But we didn't we stuck to it. We kept grinding it out. And then fortunately Halo was coming back a few weeks later. So we did a pickup day that day. And then I did two more pickup days to round out this very uh complicated scene. It's very obviously the most complicated scene
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
in the movie. Which maybe we want to show a clip from that so you see what the heck I'm talking about.
Can we just fucking go? Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Oh my god, why are we stopping? Why are we still standing? Fuck this, man. What is she doing right now?
You didn't hear?
You're what?
I really didn't want to be the one to tell you this, bro.
What? Tell me what, fuckface? Tell me what?
Randy's dead, dude. Someone shot him in the dick.
Yo, what'd he say about Randy? Why are we still stopped?
Yeah. So that clip was a combination of like 3 or 4 days of shooting, or maybe not that particular clip, but that particular clip was at least 2 days of shooting. What was cool about it was I couldn't get everybody back, so I really had to cheat a lot of what was happening in that scene. But what was really cool about it was Tim Hale, who plays sort of this obnoxious band promoter. He was available. The rest of the band is actually not in the back of the van for most of that scene. I added audio and stuff like that. I had them, do some ADR to just fill out the space. But I wrote this whole scene for Tim where he's just like on the phone, being like the most obnoxious, grating person you can imagine. But it was super funny, and it was, that wouldn't have happened if our day would have went perfectly, because I wouldn't have had any reason to come back and shoot again,
Yep.
But happy accidents, having that need to go back and shoot more, opened up another creative avenue to make that scene richer and funnier and better, and less rushed than we would have been had we got it all done the first day. So,
Yep.
so I think like in a way that is my favorite scene, because it's, and we saw a clip, that's not the whole scene, but that extended scene like is my favorite because I know like how much work went into it, while also allowing for last minute creative ideas to
Yeah.
inject into the movie.
Well, and that scene really, it makes the movie bigger.
Yeah.
It's a lot
It's
of
the climax for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's one of those moments of like, when you're working with short amount of time and you're working on a stricter budget and everything, how to be inventive and still have some element of spectacle that's woven into the story and just makes it a bigger film. Talk to us about working with sawzalls and disposing of evidence and shooting on the water.
Oh, okay. Uh, So that was my father-in-law's Sawzall. Shout out Doug Eaton, um, which somehow got lost. I don't even know how that happened. Um, I'm very happy that my friend Brooks, who's very mechanically inclined, was available that day to take the blade off and put it back on, for safety reasons. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just has like a cool, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And shout out to Ron George too, because as as Jane's like cutting up with it, he's like, all right, now you hit a bone. You really gotta, and that's his, that's his world. I wouldn't have thought to give that note, but it was a good note, so it worked.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that scene was wild. That whole day was nuts as well. We shot until like 4 a.m. It was crazy. But like Halo will say that was her the most fun she had on set. We all had a lot of fun that night, but it was a hard night. The shooting on the water was crazy. It was I was expecting calm Pymatuning Lake. I was just like, oh, it's just an inland lake. It'll be fine. Oh my gosh, it was so not fine. The water was so choppy. The dock was like swaying like this the whole time. And it was, we had to like shoot it in a way where I couldn't
Right.
exactly get all the coverage. So like a lot of
Right.
that shot is just like in this super wide.
Hmm.
But that shot works because it adds like this tension to it where you just see the boats like rocking back and forth and you feel like the waves like crashing on it and stuff. So it worked. It wasn't what I had planned, never how I would storyboard it, but you know just kind of rolling with the elements. um that boat rental place gave us 2 boats for free just because they're cool. And then, yeah, so then we got out on the water and I had this incredible drone shot planned. And then I immediately crashed my drone into Lake Pymatuning, RIP. So that didn't work out the best. It tortures me a little bit to think about the shots that I didn't get that we could have got. But the scene works great
Yeah.
anyway. I mean, Yafet
Yeah.
shot some beautiful stuff out there on the water. So yeah,
Well,
it was fun.
that's another great anecdote about how, as an independent filmmaker, you can't go back and do it again another day. So you have to. Sometimes it's compromise, and I don't mean making it lesser. It's just it's finding solution. It's troubleshooting. That's so much
Yeah.
of independent filmmaking. You were saying you talked about how many shoot days you had and pickups and so on. So, um, what was the post process like? Like, how long did that take, and like, who were your key crew members in that process, collaborators?
Sure. Uh, we finished shooting and we finished our reshoots and we went right into post. Didn't really take a lot of time between. Um, I I served as the editor. I'm an experienced editor. I'm not precious about editing my own movies. However, I just felt like I was the best option available, especially given the lack of resources that I had available. Um, so that's why I put myself in the editor
Hmm.
position. I Music is so important in this movie, and because it's a music movie, right? Like she's all about music and musicians and everything like that. So I found an incredible composer, Joshua Love. Shout out Josh Love. Um, Based in Cleveland as well, which appeals to me. I mean, we're now really good friends, which is a relationship I don't know that I wouldn't have been able to form had he been in LA or whatever. So he brought in another composer with him. So it's 2 composers, Josh and Daniel Hedgedus. He's in Europe somewhere. Sorry, Daniel, I forget. Belgium, I think. Um, and if that's wrong, I apologize. So so the two of them did the original score, and then my friend Michael is pretty tapped in. He's a musician. He's in the movie too. He's the bass player who has no lines, which is kind of a running joke in the movie, but it's a good one. So he's super tapped into the local music, the Ohio music scene, not just Ohio, but just in general. So he helped me find a lot of the supplemental songs that are in the film. And then Nigel wrote two original songs. I gave him two titles and said, "Hey, I need two songs," and he wrote two songs. Him and Michael collaborated. So Nigel wrote the lyrics, and at least for one of them, Michael had kind of a demo track that he arranged but didn't have a use for it. So they collaborated on two original songs for the movie. And then Dennis, who did the location sound, came in as a sound mixer. And yeah, and then we kind of took a all hands on deck approach to the sound design. Our original sound designer caught some feelings for some reason and dropped out. It happens.
It happens. Yeah, it happens.
So I filled in a little bit, and then I'm very good friends with an incredible sound designer, Andrew Twite, who did sound design on Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I might butcher that title,
Yep.
but he's incredibly talented. So he came in, just kind of put the final, polish on the sound design. And then our colorist is also incredible, John Coy, who was the DP of Huckleberry, super talented DP, but primarily works as a colorist. And so he took those great images that Yafet shot, and he did a masterful color grade on that. That's great. Then I think I mentioned Pixel Planet, and Brandon did the visual effects, and Chris Singleton is he's an animator, so he did the opening title sequence. And if I'm forgetting somebody, I apologize, but I think that's the meat and potatoes of our post-production team. We came up with I put together a first cut, which was a little bit over 2 hours long, which I was feeling good about. And then I showed it to you, and you told me it's way too long and there's too much air in it. No, I'm just joking.
Sorry.
I'm just joking. We did that test screening, which was super helpful at the Cranked Up studio in Ashland, and got some great feedback and discussion. And then I went back into the lab, shaved off another 8 minutes or so, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's much more to it, but
yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it's so many films we see come in, if they're not the final cut, and sometimes even the final cut. It's not that you're trying to make it shorter just so by cutting out all the air. It's really more about consumability, I guess, is one way to say it. Sometimes I think the time we're in right now, if people see a movie is significantly over 90 minutes, I think initially some people, it just turns them off. I've even seen on some channels, I've thought about adding this to Cranked Up TV, but as a line, it's like 90 minutes or less, quick entertainment, right? But the film needs to be as long as it needs to be.
I don't miss anything I cut out. I mean, this movie moves. Like, you will not find a lull. If you find a lull in this movie, then I'm seriously concerned about your ADHD, because this movie just it moves right along.
Oh yeah,
just go boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, the pacing is really strong. Yeah.
Yeah. So those 7 minutes, I don't miss them. Didn't need them. Yeah. And I think we're coming in at about 97 minutes. So not quite under 90, but that's okay.
A lot of filmmakers may or may not have been through the distribution process, the deliverables process, which can feel daunting, but it's pretty straightforward. It's like a punch list of all these things. Uh, be curious to hear your thoughts or recommendations or wisdom that you might want to share with other independent filmmakers, having been through it now yourself.
I would have loved to have had that very long, detailed document about deliverables uh, going into the movie. I think that would have actually been really helpful. I mean, you weren't my distributor then, so it is what it is.
Right.
But there's a ton of stuff that you don't think about when you're in the creative process. But then
Right.
you get done and you get to figure out all this stuff like insurance and captions and chain of title and all this legal stuff. And yeah, that was pretty daunting for me. Once I was able to carve out the space and really buckle down, I got it done a reasonable amount of time. Um, but yeah, there were a few months there where I just had too much on my plate, so I kind of got pushed in the back burner. So yeah, it's this weird thing. Like you finish the movie, and then there's like this year that goes between like actually being done with the movie and to when the movie's like actually platformed and released. Um, and I think a lot of people may not be prepared for like how challenging the stuff is after you finish the movie.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't have festivals as a big part of my strategy, but I kind of just needed something to like fill the time. So I did submit to a variety of festivals and did pretty well. I don't know, a dozen or so, won some awards. Halo won at least 2 or 3 awards for Best Actress
That's
at some
great.
of these festivals. So yeah, so and that helps, with just kind of marketing and building your community. Um, I think the days of like being discovered at a film festival and like that just rocket shipping you to the stratosphere, I think those are pretty much over. But that doesn't mean that there's not utility
Sure.
in the film festivals, and they're
Sure.
fun. So.
It still happens, but it's I think it's probably more a rarity now. I mean, even big festivals, we see, looking in this last year at some of the bigger festivals, there's so many movies come away without distribution from those
Oh yeah,
from those
yeah,
festivals. It used to be everything would get snapped up, and it's just a different world we're in now. Yeah.
it is. Yeah, it's pretty unfriendly for filmmakers right now, to be honest. But
Yeah.
you just got to adapt and persevere and make great horror movies that are, you know, people can't resist watching.
Yeah, I think the democratization, the access to inexpensive technology, um, and so on, everything that's led to sort of a boom in the amount of films that get made is really great. And also it's a double-edged sword, right? Now there are so many more films that get made every year. So you're sort of not competing directly, but really, how do you make sure your film doesn't get lost in the noise of that when you're seeking distribution? Because still, for the thousands and thousands of films that get made every year, not that many really get a proper release. So I know it's probably maybe it's too early to ask what's next for you.
I'm working on a prequel and a sequel.
Okay.
So I
All
want to
right.
make this a trilogy. Um, I've got about 50 solid pages on the prequel and uh, a whole bunch of random scenes for the sequel. I don't know where I'm going quite with that, but I'm filling up the sandbox. So yeah, so I definitely want to make Jane a franchise.
Okay.
That's my goal. I have another script too, vampire centric script, which is pretty much done. So if I got the funding for that, I would do that too. Yeah, so I'm staying on the Jane train. I'm staying in the horror genre.
Okay.
I love the community. Everyone's been super supportive. I went through the hell of releasing a drama, and I'm not doing that again. So yeah, so I'm locked in.
That's great. Yeah, she's a great villain.
Yeah,
But is she a villain?
I think she's the hero. I think she's secretly the hero of the movie. Maybe anti-hero. I don't know, but
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
it depends on, is your loyalty to like human life or is your loyalty to like transcendent music,
it's it's a good question.
You got to break some eggs. So
Well, and I really appreciate having, a female character like this. It's so often that we're with the slasher or the stalking killer or whatever, and it's male centric, generally. So it's nice to see that. And also how the movie is, um, you have unrestricted narration, so you have less scenes without her, scenes without Demetri. But at the same time, when stuff is about to go down with Jane, you're with Jane. You're not with
yeah,
the person who's walking around the dark apartment. You're with Jane, right? Which I think is
correct.
really, really interesting.
For the most part. Yeah, that's great.
For the most part. Yeah. Okay. Any parting advice for independent filmmakers out there from your experience?
Yes, my parting advice is go rent Stalker Jane and study it and leave a rating and a review. And yeah, that's it. Just pay me money to copy what I did on Stalker Jane. That's my advice.
There you go. Support independent film.
Kind of joking, but not really.
So excellent. Yeah, and so Stalker Jane is available on for rental or purchase, Amazon, Google, lots of places. And yeah, so check it out.
And it's on Cranked Up.
It's on Cranked Up TV as well. You can buy or rent it there for sort of early access while it's still in that rent buy phase.
And you really want to see it now before it hits a platform where it gets interrupted with commercials. It's just, this is not a movie to mess around with commercials. Like, this is a movie you're going to have a lot of fun just engaging with it for 97 minutes.
Agreed. And that's why, shameless plug, that's why on Cranked Up TV, we have no ads. We're ad free. So anyway, so excellent. Thanks, Roger. Thanks for the time today.
Yeah.
Again, everyone's check out Stalker Jane. It's available now for rental or purchase. And you can check out other films from Cranked Up Films on crankedupfilms.com. And they're available all over the place. And then crankeduptv.com is our independent horror streaming service. So thanks again, Roger. We will, I'm sure I'll see you soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Off camera, that really doesn't sound right.